Welcome to Mythstory and Legends. Today, we begin our epic journey into the life of Heracles, one of the most celebrated heroes of Greek mythology. From his miraculous birth to his legendary trials, Heracles' story is a profound saga of triumph and tragedy. In this episode, we uncover the origins of Heracles, exploring his divine heritage and early signs of the extraordinary life that lay ahead. Stay with us as we trace the footsteps of a hero born from the heavens and bound to the earth. The divine lineage and birth of Heracles. In the pantheon of Greek mythology, few figures are as legendary as Heracles, born of Zeus, the supreme ruler of the Olympian gods, and Alcmene, a mortal woman of striking grace and virtue. This union, however, was steeped in deception. Zeus, renowned for his amorous escapades, adopted the guise of Alcmene's husband Amphitryon, returning victorious from war. Under the veil of night, he descended upon earth, his divine presence cloaked in mortal facade. This celestial encounter was orchestrated with precision, a testament to Zeus's longing and Alcmene's unsuspecting innocence. From this union, Heracles was conceived a child of sky and earth, destined to live amidst gods yet bound by mortal flesh. His birth was not merely an event of familial joy, but a cosmic disturbance that reverberated through the heavens and across the earth. Hera, the queen of the gods and Zeus's wife, found no solace in her husband's infidelities. Her heart, a cauldron of bitterness, brewed plots and schemes. Heracles, innocent yet the embodiment of Zeus's betrayal, became the focal point of her wrath. Determined to eradicate any trace of Zeus's indiscretion, Hera sent two monstrous serpents to slay Heracles in his very cradle. The silence of the night was shattered by the gasps of the nursemaid as she beheld the slithering doom approaching. Yet, where death loomed, fate intervened. Heracles, a mere infant, showcased the burgeoning might of his divine lineage. With unyielding grip and the innocence of a child unaware of his own strength, he seized the serpents. Their lethal intentions were quashed between the tiny, powerful hands of the demigod, who turned his first brush with death into a spectacle of survival and strength. This miraculous survival spread like wildfire throughout Greece, heralding the rise of a new hero. Heracles' feat was no mere child's play, but a clear sign of his future path, one strewn with challenges both mortal and divine. As tales of his divine strength grew, so did the interest of kings and scholars, each eager to see how the son of Zeus would shape his destiny. As Heracles grew, his divine heritage continued to manifest in feats of strength and acts of courage, each more remarkable than the last. Yet, his journey was not to be without its trials. Bound by the whims of gods and the machinations of fate, Heracles' story is one of raw power tempered by profound challenges, a narrative we will continue to explore as he steps into the broader world of heroes and legends. As we delve deeper into the life of Heracles, exploring his education, early adventures, and the tragic fate that would define his legacy and lead him towards the path of redemption through his legendary labors. Education and early adventures. As Heracles transitioned from boyhood to youth, it was clear that his education would not be ordinary. Under the tutelage of the centaur Chiron, known for his wisdom and nurturing of many future heroes, Heracles learned more than just the arts of war. Chiron taught him to harness his strength with precision, to blend might with wisdom, a curriculum designed for a demigod. Among his many lessons, Heracles was also tutored in music, an essential discipline for well-rounded Greek education. His teacher was Linus, the son of Apollo, a master musician whose skills were unparalleled. Linus was not only a mentor in music, but also in patience and temperance, qualities that Heracles found challenging to embrace. Despite his best efforts, Heracles' progress in music did not match his achievements in physical feats. His frustration grew, as did the tension between him and Linus. One fateful day, this tension reached its zenith. During a particularly rigorous session, Linus reprimanded Heracles harshly for a mistaken note, a common practice intended to perfect the student's skill, but ill-received by the burgeoning hero. The reprimand ignited a spark of rage in Heracles, a trait inherited perhaps from his divine father Zeus, known for his own explosive anger. In a moment of uncontrolled fury, Heracles lashed out. The instrument of his learning, the lyre, became the instrument of his wrath. With a single reflexive swing, he struck Linus on the head, a blow that proved fatal. The death of Linus was a pivotal moment in Heracles' life. It marked the first time his divine strength had disastrous consequences in a mortal realm. This incident not only ended his music lessons, but also served as a grim reminder of the dangerous power he possessed, power that needed control and guidance. Heracles' actions brought upon him the ire of his elders and the scrutiny of his peers. Exiled from the music school and shunned by those who feared his temper, Heracles was confronted with the stark reality of his existence, a demigod among men, his every action fraught with potential peril. This early life lesson underlined the importance of mastering not just physical strength, but emotional discipline, setting the stage for the trials and tribulations that would define his path to heroism. Despite this early tragedy, Heracles' journey continued. His reputation as a formidable warrior grew, leading to his first significant challenge, the battle with the lions of Mount Cithaeron. As Heracles grew into his strength and reputation, his adventures began to echo across the land of Greece. Among these early feats, none showcased his burgeoning heroism quite like the battle with the lions of Mount Cithaeron. This mountain, shrouded in dark legends and the cries of beasts, had become a place of terror for the local inhabitants. The lions of Mount Cithaeron were not mere beasts, but monstrous creatures, their manes like shadows and eyes like burning coals. They preyed not only on the livestock, but ventured ever closer to human settlements. King Thespius, ruler of the region, desperate to protect his people and kingdom, sought a hero who could face this peril. Heracles, seeking to prove his mettle, answered the call. With nothing but his lion skin cloak and club, hand-carved from the strongest olive wood, he set out to confront these fearsome beasts. His journey to Mount Cithaeron was not just a hunt, but a mission to secure his place as a protector of the people. Under the cloak of night, the mountain air thick with tension, Heracles approached the lair of the lions. The battle that ensued was a spectacle of raw power and bravery. The lions, swift and ferocious, met their match in the hero, who countered their every move with unyielding strength and cunning. By dawn, the silence that fell over Mount Cithaeron was telling. Heracles emerged from the darkness, his figure solitary against the first light, the bodies of the slain lions at his feet. This victory was not just a testament to his physical prowess, but to his strategic mind and courage. With the threat vanquished, the gratitude of King Thespius and his people knew no bounds. Heracles' feat secured him a place of honor and began a lasting bond with the king, who would later play a significant role in his destiny. The tale of the lions not only spread throughout the region, but also added a legendary chapter to the saga of Heracles, reinforcing his status as a figure of immense heroism and divine favor. As we continue to explore the heroic deeds of Heracles, each adventure brings us closer to understanding the complexities of his character, a hero not just born of divine lineage, but made through the trials of courage and determination. His success against the lions not only secured local gratitude, but also deepened the bond between Heracles and King Thespius, who saw in him both a hero and a potential heir. Yet Heracles' destiny lay beyond the palace walls. His heart yearned for challenges that matched his strength and spirit. Amidst these early feats, Heracles' might and character were tested, shaped by both success and the shadows of his divine heritage. Each adventure, each trial on this journey, forged him not just as a warrior, but as a symbol of the complexity of heroism, mighty yet fallible, divine yet deeply human. The tragic turning point. Heracles, having found a semblance of peace and fulfillment in his personal life, was surrounded by the love of his wife, Megara, and their children. In this domestic bliss, the hero of great battles and savior of peoples hoped he had finally outrun the shadow of his divine birthright. But the gods, particularly Hera, watched his mortal happiness with growing resentment. Hera, the queen of the gods, harbored a deep-seated hatred for Heracles, the living reminder of her husband Zeus's infidelity. Her vengeance, patient and calculating, sought the most devastating of revenges, striking Heracles not through direct confrontation, but by turning his greatest strength into his worst nightmare. Under the cover of night, as Heracles lay sleeping beside his family, Hera unleashed a cruel spell of madness upon him. It twisted his perceptions, morphing his tranquil home into a battlefield filled with enemies. In this distorted reality, Heracles believed his loved ones were hostile warriors from his past, coming to exact revenge. The hero, gripped by delusion, acted in what he believed was defense. His mighty hands, which had once fought lions and giants, now tragically turned against his own family. When the spell broke, the horrifying truth revealed itself. His home was silent. The battle he thought he fought was but an illusion, and the cost of this phantom war was unspeakable. Heracles, his mind cleared but his heart shattered, faced the ruins of his own actions. The pain of this moment transcended the physical battles he had endured. He had been a protector, a hero, but under the yoke of Hera's curse, he had become the destroyer of his own cherished world. In his agony, Heracles sought isolation, unable to bear the presence of those who reminded him of his tragic deed. His journey to atone began with a solitary pilgrimage to Delphi, the sanctuary of Apollo, seeking guidance and purification. The oracle, a voice of the divine, awaited him, ready to set him on a path that would define the course of his legendary labors. This pivotal moment in Heracles' life was not merely a tale of loss and madness, but a profound narrative of human fragility and the quest for redemption. Through his 12 labors, Heracles would not only seek to cleanse his soul, but also to reclaim his place as a hero, not defined by his strength alone, but by his enduring spirit to overcome. Join us next time on Mythstory and Legends as we follow Heracles through each of his 12 labors, tales of bravery, cunning, and resilience that define the essence of a hero. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on this legendary journey. In the age where gods ruled the skies and their decrees shaped the fates of men, there lay a land steeped in legend and whispered myth, ancient Greece. Here, amidst the clash of titans and the whispers of oracles, emerged a hero whose name would become synonymous with strength and endurance: Heracles. Son of Zeus, king of gods, and Alcmene, a mortal of exceptional virtue, Heracles was born from an illicit union shrouded in deception and divine intrigue. His life, marked by the divine spark of Zeus, was destined to be anything but ordinary. Even his birth was met with peril, as Hera, queen of the gods and Zeus's wife, racked by jealousy, sought to thwart his destiny from his very first breath. Hera's enmity followed young Heracles into adulthood, where it manifested most destructively. Driven by Hera's relentless vendetta, a temporary madness was cast upon Heracles, compelling him to commit a grievous act against his own family. This madness, once lifted, left Heracles stricken with sorrow, his heart burdened by the weight of his actions. Seeking purification and redemption for his sins, Heracles consulted the Oracle of Delphi, the most revered of all seers, whose visions came directly from Apollo himself. The oracle, through cryptic prophecies, decreed that Heracles' path to absolution lay through the servitude to King Eurystheus of Tiryns, his cousin and a man of considerable insecurity who feared Heracles' power. Eurystheus, manipulated by Hera and eager to rid himself of Heracles, set forth the 12 labors, a series of tasks so perilous and divine in challenge that they seemed insurmountable. The first of these was to confront and vanquish the Nemean lion, a beast of no ordinary lineage or mortal bearing. The Nemean lion, rumored to be the offspring of the monstrous Typhon and the snake-bodied Echidna, roamed the hills of Nemea, its fur impervious to the weapons of man. It was said that the lion's hide could turn the edge of the sharpest blade, its claws sharper than any sword. This creature, embodying Hera's wrath and the earth's dread, became the symbol of Heracles' first and potentially fatal trial. As Heracles set out for Nemea, the air thick with a scent of olive and pine, his heart was a tumult of determination and dread, for he knew that the path he embarked upon was one that could lead to redemption or end in the dark recesses of failure. Thus begins our tale, as Heracles approaches the shadowed lands of Nemea, where the lion waits, as relentless as the fate that drives our hero. Background on the 12 labors. The world of Greek mythology is one where the whims of deities dictate the lives of mortals, where every tree whisper and every thunderclap is a sign of divine will. In this world, the 12 labors of Heracles were not merely tasks, but a divine orchestration by Hera, driven by a dual intent to eradicate Heracles or to forge him into a being of unparalleled virtue and strength. Each labor, set by King Eurystheus, was a thread in the intricate tapestry of fate and divine intrigue, designed to be a journey of both literal and spiritual transformation for Heracles. Before the commencement of these labors, Heracles' life had already been one of brutality and divine spectacle. His immense strength was evident from his youth, when he strangled 2 serpents sent by Hera to kill him in his cradle, a sign of both his might and the perilous life that lay ahead. As he grew, so did his reputation, as a man of both formidable power and deep-seated morality, attributes that would both aid and complicate his tumultuous path. However, it was his tragic lapse into madness, an affliction sent by Hera, which marked the turning point in his life. Having slain his own children in a mad frenzy, the clarity that returned with his sanity brought an unbearable guilt. The oracle of Delphi's decree that he serve Eurystheus was, to Heracles, both a punishment and a potential path to redemption. The labors themselves were as much a battle of wits and endurance as they were of strength. Eurystheus, upon receiving the oracle's decree, saw an opportunity to either kill Heracles or forever break his spirit. Yet, each task also provided Heracles with a chance to redefine the narrative of his life, to turn his story from one of tragedy to one of triumph. This first labor, the slaying of the Nemean lion, was particularly symbolic. Nemea was a place that evoked a sense of foreboding, its hills barren, the skies often grey and ominous, as if reflecting the grim task at hand. Heracles' journey to Nemea was not just a physical trek, but a pilgrimage into the depths of his own fears and aspirations. As Heracles ventured into the rugged terrains that led to the lion's den, his thoughts were a mix of strategy and introspection. He knew that overcoming the lion required more than brute strength. It demanded a confrontation with the very essence of his fears and a reclamation of his agency from the gods' manipulations. Thus, armed with nothing but his resolve and the raw power bestowed upon him by his divine lineage, Heracles approached the cave of the Nemean lion, each step taking him closer to his destiny, each breath a whisper of the challenges that lay ahead. Heracles' journey through the rugged hills of Nemea was marked by an eerie silence, broken only by the occasional distant roar that rolled like thunder across the landscape. As he ventured deeper into the domain of the Nemean lion, the air grew thick with anticipation and the faint, unmistakable scent of danger that seemed to seep from the very earth. Each step forward was a defiance of the fate prescribed by the gods, a testament to Heracles' resolve to carve his own path through the annals of myth and man. The people of Nemea, their lives overshadowed by the constant threat of the lion, had once thrived in these lands. Now their fields lay barren, their spirits broken by the ceaseless terror inflicted by the beast. Heracles, upon arriving in a nearby village, was met not with the usual fanfare reserved for heroes, but with somber faces and hushed voices. The villagers spoke of the lion not as a mere animal, but as an unstoppable force, a creature whose roars at night chilled the bravest of hearts, and whose presence turned their once lush home into a shadowed, forsaken place. As Heracles gathered information from the villagers, one tale stood out, a story of a young warrior who, armed with spear and shield, had gone forth to slay the lion only to be devoured, his armor and weapons left crumpled and bent beyond recognition. This tale served as a grim reminder of the formidable task ahead. Yet it also stoked the fires of determination within Heracles, for he saw not just a challenge, but a chance to restore hope to the people of Nemea. Armed with this resolve, Heracles set out at dawn towards the cave rumored to house the lion. The path was strewn with remnants of previous encounters, shards of weapons, pieces of armor, and bones that spoke of failed heroics. The cave itself was nestled at the base of a cliff, its entrance dark and unwelcoming, framed by the gnarled branches of aged trees that seemed to warn off any who dared approach. Heracles paused at the entrance, his senses heightened, his mind alert. He knew that the battle ahead was not just a test of his strength, but of his very soul. Encounter with the lion. Within the shadowed confines of the cave, Heracles' eyes slowly adjusted to the darkness that enveloped him like a cloak. The air was cool and damp, heavy with the scent of earth and something far more primal, the unmistakable musk of the beast. With each cautious step, the sound of his own breathing echoed in the oppressive silence, a stark reminder of the solitude and danger that surrounded him. Suddenly, a low growl rumbled through the cave, a sound so deep and terrifying that it seemed to vibrate the very stones beneath his feet. Heracles tensed, his senses sharpening as his eyes scanned the darkness for any sign of the lion. The growl turned into a roar, a sound that filled the cave with its fury, and then from the shadows the Nemean lion charged. The lion was a massive creature, each muscle rippling under its golden fur, which glinted dimly in the faint light that filtered into the cave. Its eyes burned with a savage intelligence, its jaws wide and fearsome. Heracles, undaunted, stood his ground, clutching his club tightly. As the lion pounced, Heracles swung his club with all his might, a blow that would have felled any ordinary beast. But the lion was no ordinary beast. The club struck its side, only to bounce off as if it had hit solid rock. Realizing that his weapons were of no use, Heracles resorted to his God-given strength. He dodged another swipe of the lion's deadly claws, then in a move of desperate courage, lunged forward. Grabbing the lion by its mane, Heracles wrestled the beast to the ground, struggling to maintain his grip on the thrashing creature. The battle within the dark confines of the cave was brutal and exhausting, a test of endurance and will, as each combatant fought for supremacy. The battle. In the Stygian gloom of the cave, Heracles and the Nemean lion fought with a ferocity that echoed the chaotic battles of the gods themselves. Heracles, realizing the futility of conventional weapons, relied solely on his Herculean strength. He grappled with the beast, his arms locking around its powerful neck, his entire being focused on subduing the creature that seemed an embodiment of nature's untamed might. The struggle was epic, a physical and metaphorical battle between man and myth. Heracles' muscles strained under the effort, his skin marked by scratches and the dust of the cave floor. As the fight continued, a strategy emerged in Heracles' mind through the haze of exertion and adrenaline. He remembered the tales of the lion's invulnerability. No external force could harm it. But perhaps it could be subdued from within. With a surge of strength fueled by his desperate need for redemption, Heracles tightened his grip, his arms constricting around the lion's neck in a chokehold designed not to kill but to incapacitate. The lion fought back with wild desperation, its claws flailing, but slowly its movements grew weaker, its breaths more labored. Heracles, summoning every ounce of his divine strength, held on, his resolve unyielding as stone. Finally, as the first light of dawn began to seep into the cave, casting long shadows and illuminating the struggle, the lion's struggles ceased. Heracles stood, breath heavy, over the subdued beast, a mix of respect and sorrow in his eyes. He had conquered the unconquerable, not through the might of weapons, but through the sheer force of will and physical strength. Triumph and aftermath. As the new day dawned, casting golden light over the land of Nemea, Heracles emerged from the cave, the lion's magnificent hide, his trophy and testament to his victory. This hide, once the beast's invincible armor, now served as Heracles' shield, a poignant reminder of his triumph and the complex nature of his quest for redemption. Heracles' victory over the Nemean lion was more than a mere feat of strength. It was a profound act of liberation for the people of Nemea, from the shadow of terror, and for Heracles from the chains of his past. As he draped the lion's hide over his shoulders, feeling its weight, he was acutely aware of the dual nature of his journey. Each labor, while a step towards his redemption, was also a moment of profound introspection, a test of his moral and ethical boundaries. As news of his victory spread, Heracles was both celebrated and feared. The people of Nemea, relieved of their long-standing nightmare, hailed him as a savior, their expressions of gratitude a balm to his weary heart. Yet within these accolades lay the seeds of future challenges, as each labor increased not only his fame, but also the complexity of his relationship with the gods and those he encountered. Standing on the precipice of his next challenge, Heracles knew that the road ahead was fraught with dangers as formidable as the Nemean lion. Yet he also knew that each step was necessary, each battle a piece of the puzzle that was his life's destiny. With the lion's hide as both armor and burden, he set his sights on the next labor, aware that the path to atonement was long, and the balance between human and hero was delicate and fraught with peril. Thus our tale of the first labor concludes, but the saga of Heracles is far from over. Join us next time as we follow Heracles to the swamps of Lerna, where the multi-headed hydra waits, its breath as deadly as its bite. How will our hero overcome a beast that grows 2 heads for each one severed? Stay tuned and explore with us the enduring myths of Heracles, a man caught between the world of the gods and the realm of mortals. If you found yourself enthralled by the tale of strength and strategy, stay with us. The saga of Heracles is filled with more than just battles. It's woven with the threads of destiny and the human spirit. What challenges await our hero next? Can he outwit a creature that defies the very laws of nature? Subscribe and hit the bell to ensure you don't miss out on our next episode. Like this video if you're enjoying the journey through ancient myths, and share it with fellow mythology enthusiasts. Your thoughts and discussions enrich our community, so leave a comment below on how you would tackle the mighty challenges of Heracles. Join us next time as we continue to explore the Herculean feats and delve deeper into the myths that have shaped the narratives of heroes through the ages. Until then, keep wondering, and as always, keep watching. Welcome back to Mythstory and Legends. In our previous video, we witnessed Heracles embark on his first labor, the daunting task of defeating the Nemean lion. Today, we delve deeper into the heroic journey of Heracles as he faces his second labor, the legendary battle against the Lernaean Hydra. Join us as we journey into the heart of Greek mythology once again, exploring the gripping tale of courage, cunning, and triumph. To truly understand the significance of Heracles' battle against the Lernaean Hydra, we must delve into the intricate web of divine machinations and mortal strife that set the stage for this epic confrontation. At the heart of the matter lay the bitter enmity between Heracles and Hera, queen of the gods and relentless adversary of the hero. Hera's animosity towards Heracles stemmed from his divine lineage. As the son of Zeus and Alcmene, Heracles was a constant reminder of her husband's infidelities and a threat to her own power and authority. Determined to thwart Heracles at every turn, Hera devised a series of trials and tribulations designed to test the hero's strength, courage, and virtue. These trials, known as the 12 labors of Heracles, were a punishment for Heracles' unwitting murder of his own family in a fit of madness, brought on by Hera's own manipulations. The second of these labors brought Heracles face to face with the Lernaean Hydra, a creature of Hera's own creation and a symbol of her boundless wrath. By sending Heracles to confront the Hydra, Hera hoped to ensure his demise and rid herself of this thorn in her side once and for all. But Heracles was not so easily defeated. With each labor he completed, his legend grew, and his reputation as a hero of unparalleled strength and valor spread far and wide. And so, armed with his indomitable will and guided by the wisdom of his mentor, Chiron, Heracles set forth to confront the Hydra and prove himself worthy of his divine heritage. Yet little did Heracles know that his battle against the Hydra would be more than just a test of his physical prowess. It would also be a test of his cunning, his resourcefulness, and his ability to overcome the seemingly insurmountable challenges that lay in his path. For the Hydra was no mere monster. It was a symbol of the chaos and darkness that lurked at the edges of the world, a manifestation of the primal forces of nature that sought to undo the order and harmony established by the gods. And so, as Heracles stood on the shores of the swamp of Lerna, gazing into the murky depths where the Hydra lay in wait, he knew that he faced not just a creature of flesh and blood, but a cosmic force of unimaginable power and malevolence. But Heracles was undaunted, for he knew that his quest was not just about defeating the Hydra, but about proving himself worthy of his divine heritage and earning his place among the heroes of legend. And so, with courage in his heart and the fate of the world hanging in the balance, Heracles embarked on his greatest trial yet, the battle against the Lernaean Hydra. In the ancient land of Greece, amidst the tangled swamps of Lerna, there dwelled a creature of darkness and dread, the Lernaean Hydra. Born of the primordial chaos that birthed the universe itself, the Hydra was a monster of unfathomable power, its serpentine form coiled in the shadows, its many heads poised to strike at any who dared to approach. Legend whispered of its origins, tracing its lineage back to the fearsome Titans themselves. Some said it was the offspring of Typhon and Echidna, a union of chaos and darkness that spawned a terror beyond compare. Others claimed it was the creation of Hera, the vengeful queen of the gods, fashioned from the very essence of her wrath to serve as a scourge upon the mortal realm. Whatever its true origins, one thing was certain: the Hydra was a force to be reckoned with, a blight upon the land that defied all attempts to vanquish it. For with each of its heads that was severed, 2 more would sprout forth in its place, fueled by the creature's unholy vitality. Its breath was poison, its blood a toxin that could corrode even the mightiest of warriors. It was into this realm of darkness that Heracles, the mighty son of Zeus, ventured as he embarked on his second labor. Guided by the wisdom of the centaur Chiron, Heracles prepared himself for the daunting task that lay ahead. Armed with his club, forged in the fires of Hephaestus, and his keen-edged sword, a gift from Athena herself, Heracles set forth to confront the Hydra and rid the world of its menace. As Heracles ventured deeper into the labyrinthine swamps of Lerna, he could feel the oppressive weight of the Hydra's presence bearing down upon him. The air grew thick with the stench of decay, and the eerie silence was broken only by the occasional rustle of unseen creatures lurking in the shadows. At last, Heracles reached the Hydra's lair, a dark, cavernous hollow nestled amidst the twisted roots of ancient trees. There, coiled amidst the muck and mire, lay the Hydra, its many heads twitching and writhing in anticipation of the battle to come. With a roar that shook the very earth, Heracles charged forward, his club raised high above his head. The Hydra met his onslaught with a hiss of defiance, its gaping maws dripping with venom as it lunged forward to meet its attacker. The battle that ensued was a spectacle of fury and ferocity, as Heracles and the Hydra clashed amidst the murky depths of the swamp. With each swing of his club, Heracles struck a mighty blow against the Hydra's scaly hide. Yet for every head he severed, two more sprang forth in its place, fueled by the creature's unholy vitality. Realizing the futility of his efforts, Heracles called out for aid, and in response, his nephew Iolaus stepped forward to lend his support. Together, they devised a cunning plan as Heracles battled the Hydra. Iolaus would stand ready with a flaming torch, ready to cauterize the stumps of each severed head before it could regenerate. With their combined strength and ingenuity, Heracles and Iolaus pressed on, refusing to yield even in the face of overwhelming odds. Slowly but surely, they began to gain the upper hand, their relentless assault driving the Hydra back towards the depths from whence it came. The battle raged on for hours, each blow exchanged sending shockwaves through the earth and sky. But at long last, the Hydra's strength began to wane, its monstrous form faltering beneath the relentless onslaught of Heracles and his nephew. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity of ceaseless combat, the Hydra lay vanquished at their feet, its many heads severed and its monstrous form lying still amidst the wreckage of the swamp. Victorious but weary, Heracles and Iolaus emerged from the depths of Lerna, their triumph heralded by the cheers of mortals and immortals alike. Yet, even as they celebrated their hard-won victory, Heracles knew that his trials were far from over. For with each labor he completed, a new challenge awaited him, each more perilous than the last. And so, with his gaze fixed firmly on the horizon, Heracles set forth once more, ready to face whatever trials fate had in store. The myth of the Lernaean Hydra holds profound symbolism and timeless lessons that resonate with audiences across generations. At its core, the Hydra represents the challenges and obstacles that we face in life, relentless, multifaceted, and seemingly insurmountable. In Heracles' struggle against the Hydra, we find inspiration to confront our own inner demons and external adversaries with courage, resilience, and creativity. Like Heracles, we must adapt to ever-changing circumstances, employing both strength and strategy to overcome adversity and achieve our goals. The Hydra serves as a metaphor for the destructive forces of chaos and disorder that threaten to engulf the world. By defeating the Hydra, Heracles restores order and balance to the universe, demonstrating the transformative power of heroism and righteousness. The myth of the Lernaean Hydra reminds us of the importance of collaboration and cooperation in the face of adversity. Heracles' partnership with Iolaus exemplifies the value of teamwork and solidarity, showing that even the greatest challenges can be overcome when we unite our strengths and talents towards a common purpose. As we conclude our exploration of Heracles' second labor, we are reminded of the enduring legacy of this legendary hero and the timeless appeal of Greek mythology. Join us next time as we continue our journey through the ancient world, unraveling the mysteries and marvels of myth, legend, and history. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Mythstory and Legends for more captivating insights into the myths and legends of antiquity. Welcome back to Mythstory and Legends, where we dive deep into the enthralling stories of myth and magic. Today, we continue our epic series on the 12 labors of Heracles, one of the greatest heroes of Greek mythology. If you missed our last episode on the slaying of the Lernaean Hydra, make sure to check it out after this video. In this episode, we embark on a journey through dense forests and rugged mountains to track the elusive Cyrenian Hind, a creature with hooves of bronze and antlers of gold, sacred to the goddess Artemis. Join me as we explore how Heracles, tasked with an impossible feat, navigates his path through divine challenges and mortal dangers. Let's unravel the story of strength, wit, and persistence in the third labor of Heracles. Before we delve into the third labor, let's understand why Heracles was set on this daunting path. Born to Zeus and Alcmene, Heracles was subject to the wrath of Hera, Zeus's wife, who despised him for being one of Zeus's illegitimate offspring. To rid herself of Heracles, Hera sent him into a madness, causing him to commit unforgivable acts. Upon recovering, stricken with grief, Heracles sought purification and redemption. The Oracle of Delphi, the ancient world's most famous soothsayer, told him the path to atonement would be to serve King Eurystheus of Tiryns for 12 years. During this time, he was to complete any task the king set before him. Eurystheus, driven by fear of Heracles' potential power and encouraged by Hera, devised challenges meant to be impossible or fatal, the 12 labors. These labors were not only a means of punishment, but also of transformation, turning Heracles from a disgraced prince into a legendary hero. Each task tested his strength, intelligence, and resolve, proving his worth to the gods and mortals alike. The first 2 labors, the Nemean lion and the Lernaean hydra, brought Heracles back to Eurystheus with proof of his victories. However, these victories only increased Eurystheus's fear and Hera's malice, setting the stage for the third and one of the most cunning tasks yet: capturing the Cyrenian hind, a creature swift and sacred, not meant to be caught by mortal hands. With this background set, let's venture into the rugged terrains of Cyrenia, where our hero faces not just the wilderness, but also the divine watchfulness of Artemis and Apollo in his quest to capture the golden-horned hind. Our tale resumes as Heracles receives his third command from King Eurystheus: to capture the Cyrenian hind, a creature no mortal had hoped to catch. Known for its breathtaking speed and divine protection, the hind roamed the forests of Cyrenia, its antlers glinting like gold in the sunlight, its hooves never tiring. Heracles' quest led him deep into the mountains of Cyrenia, where the terrain was as challenging as the hunt itself. For a full year, he pursued the hind, glimpsing it only as fleeting flashes of gold among the trees. The chase was not just a physical pursuit, but a test of endurance and patience. As he followed the hind through seasons of rain and snow, the landscape became a familiar adversary. The mountains seemed to guard the hind, their steep slopes and thick forests shielding her from capture. Heracles learned to move silently, blending into the environment, his eyes always on the narrow tracks left by the divine creature. Before setting off, Heracles consulted with knowledgeable locals and hunters, learning about the hind's habits and the terrain it frequented. Aware that this task required more cunning than brute strength, Heracles prepared for a long and arduous hunt. He sharpened his skills, honed his senses, and set out into the wild, determined to approach his quarry with the respect due to a creature of the gods. Capturing the Cyrenian hind without causing it harm added a layer of complexity to Heracles' labor. He could not simply seize the creature. He had to ensure it remained unscathed, preserving its sacred status to Artemis. This constraint forced Heracles to innovate, to think beyond the conventional methods of hunting. He set traps that would ensnare without injuring, using ropes made from the strongest fibers found in the wild. Several attempts failed, the clever hind escaping each with ease, almost as if mocking the hero's efforts. Heracles adjusted his tactics with each failure, learning from his mistakes, his respect for the hind growing with each encounter. The hind, too, seemed to understand it was part of a divine test, occasionally pausing at a distance, its gaze almost contemplative, as if challenging Heracles to prove his worthiness. The dynamic between hunter and hunted blurred, their roles dictated by fate, but shaped by mutual respect. After a year of pursuit, through the changing seasons and landscapes, a moment came that changed the course of the hunt. Heracles, using his knowledge gained from months of observation, anticipated the hind's path and laid a network of ropes. As dawn broke over the mountains, the hind, in a rare moment of fatigue, stepped into the trap. Heracles approached slowly, his hands ready to calm the sacred creature. Just as Heracles gently secured the hind, the air shimmered, and the goddess Artemis, accompanied by her brother Apollo, appeared. They confronted Heracles, their presence as commanding as the rising sun. Artemis, protector of the wild, demanded to know why Heracles dared capture her sacred hind. Heracles, standing before the divine siblings, spoke not with defiance, but with humility. He explained his quest for redemption, his orders from Eurystheus, and his respect for the hind and its divine protector. He promised to return the hind unharmed if only allowed to fulfill his duty. Moved by Heracles' sincerity and the fairness of his words, Artemis agreed, but not without warning him about respecting the sanctity of life and nature. Heracles, relieved and grateful, vowed to honor her conditions, understanding the deeper lesson imparted by the gods. With the hind in tow, Heracles returned to Tiryns. The sight of Heracles succeeding where he was meant to fail frustrated King Eurystheus more than ever. He had hoped this task would be Heracles' undoing, yet here he was, presenting the Cyrenian hind, alive and unharmed. Eurystheus, eager to rid himself of Heracles' presence, quickly commanded him to release the hind back to the wild, as Artemis had instructed. Heracles complied, watching as the hind sprinted back to its natural habitat, a symbol of Heracles' promise kept to the goddess of the hunt. The third labor, more than a test of strength, was a lesson in wisdom and respect for the divine order. Heracles' encounter with Artemis and Apollo taught him the importance of piety and humility, traits that would serve him throughout his subsequent labors and beyond. This labor, capturing the Cyrenian hind, not only proved Heracles' heroic qualities, but also highlighted his growth as a protector of both the mortal and the divine realms. It is a tale that inspires respect for nature and the gods, reminding us of the balance that heroes must strike between duty and reverence. As we close this chapter of Heracles' journey, we are reminded of the intricate weave of fate, duty, and respect in the tapestry of mythology. Join us in the next episode as we follow Heracles to his next labor, which promises even greater challenges and deeper lessons. Thank you for joining us on this legendary journey through Greek mythology. If you enjoyed this tale, please like, subscribe, and share this video to help us bring more stories to life. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below and tell us which labor you're most looking forward to. Hello, myth enthusiasts. Welcome back to Mythstory and Legends, where we dive deep into the tales of old and uncover the stories behind the myths. If you're just joining us, we're exploring the epic 12 labors of Heracles, and today we're delving into his fourth challenge, capturing the formidable Erymanthian boar. If you haven't seen our previous videos, I highly recommend checking them out to get the full story. Now, let's get into a tale of danger, cunning, and a mighty beast that terrorized the highlands of Erymanthus. Grab your gear, and let's journey back to ancient Greece. In a land where gods and mortals play their parts on the same stage, one hero's quest for redemption brings him face to face with a creature as wild as nature itself. But before we meet this beast, let's understand why Heracles embarked on these superhuman tasks. To appreciate the gravity of the fourth labor, we need a quick refresher on why Heracles was handed these almost impossible tasks. Born to Zeus and the mortal woman Alcmene, Heracles was subjected to Hera's wrath from the moment of his birth. Driven mad by Hera, Heracles tragically killed his own family, a crime that burdened him with immense guilt and set the stage for his quest for atonement. To purify his soul, Heracles was tasked by King Eurystheus to complete 10 labors, later extended to 12. Each labor was not only a test of his strength, but also his wit and resolve. From slaying the Nemean lion, whose hide was impervious to weapons, to battling the multi-headed Hydra, each task has brought him closer to redemption. And now, we arrive at the fourth labor. Our hero must capture the Erymanthian boar, a monstrous creature that has been terrorizing the region of Erymanthus. Steep, vine-covered hills and the dense fog rolling over the landscape made Erymanthus a place of ominous tales and unseen dangers. The Erymanthian boar was no ordinary beast. It was said to be a creature of immense size, with bristling hair and tusks sharp enough to cut through the trunks of trees. Each winter, it would come down from its mountain lair, causing destruction to crops and terror to the people. Capturing such a beast was a formidable task even for a demigod. But why the boar? In many myths, the boar symbolizes war and ferocity, and capturing it could be seen as subduing chaos itself, a fitting challenge for our troubled hero. The path to the Erymanthian boar was fraught with peril. Heracles' journey took him through the wild Erymanthus range, a place where the earth and sky seemed locked in an eternal embrace. Thick fog often blanketed the ground, and the dense underbrush made each step uncertain. Navigating this treacherous terrain required more than brute strength. It demanded sharp senses and a strategic mind. Heracles had to be constantly aware, not just of natural obstacles, but also of the creatures that dwelled within. It wasn't long before Heracles encountered beings that were as much a part of this land as the trees and stones. The centaurs, half man, half horse, were known for their dual nature, wise yet wild, civil yet savage. Among these mythical creatures, Heracles met Pholus, a friendlier centaur known for his wisdom. Their meeting at Pholus Cave was crucial, as it provided Heracles with insights into the nature of the boar and advice on navigating the mountainous terrain. However, their interaction took a perilous turn when Heracles, with his usual boldness, opened a sacred jar of wine. The aroma attracted other centaurs who, unlike Pholus, were quick to anger and aggression. A fierce battle ensued, demonstrating Heracles' prowess, but also the constant dangers of his path. During this confrontation, an accident caused Chiron, the wisest of all centaurs, to be fatally wounded. Chiron's wound was deepened by the fact that it was inflicted by a poisoned arrow from Heracles' own quiver, a bitter twist of fate given Chiron's immortal nature. This incident added a layer of tragedy to Heracles' quest. It was a stark reminder of the unintended consequences that often followed his actions, despite his intentions. With the initial challenges behind him, Heracles pushed deeper into the heart of Erymanthus. The hunt for the boar was not just a physical battle, but a mental one. The beast was elusive, its knowledge of the mountainous terrain giving it a significant advantage. Heracles knew that outsmarting the boar required understanding its habits. He spent days studying its movements, the broken branches, and trampled earth that told the story of a monstrous creature passing through. Heracles' tracking skills were put to the test as he deciphered these natural signs. The terrain was unforgiving. Steep cliffs, sudden drops, and the ever-present danger of avalanches made the hunt as perilous as the beast itself. But Heracles, undeterred, used every bit of his demi-godly endurance to keep pace with the boar. After several days of relentless pursuit, Heracles finally cornered the boar in a thickly forested valley, its floor blanketed by winter's snow. The cold added to the challenge, turning every breath into a visible puff of steam, each step a crunching sound that could alert the boar. The moment of confrontation was inevitable. As Heracles stepped into the clearing, the boar, startled and now desperate, charged with ferocious speed. Its eyes gleamed with a mix of fear and rage, its tusks ready to tear through anything in its path. The battle was intense. Heracles dodged and weaved, using his agility rather than brute strength. He understood that to capture the boar alive, he needed to exhaust it, to wear it down until it could no longer fight. And so, in a masterful display of wit and physical prowess, Heracles drove the boar into a deep snowdrift. Trapped by the heavy snow, the beast's strength waned, and it was there, amidst the cold silence of the snow-filled valley, that Heracles captured the Erymanthian boar. There, in the quiet of the snowy valley, stood Heracles and the subdued Erymanthian boar. The beast, exhausted and overwhelmed by the snow, could no longer resist. Heracles, demonstrating both his might and mercy, secured the boar using thick ropes, ensuring it was captured alive, adhering to the terms of his task. With the boar secured, Heracles began the long journey back to Mycenae. The return was as perilous as the hunt, but now the hunter carried the weight of his conquest, a testament to his enduring strength and determination. The arrival of Heracles at the court of King Eurystheus was nothing short of theatrical. The king, who had devised these labors hoping they would be Heracles' undoing, was taken aback by the success of this seemingly insurmountable task. So fearful was Eurystheus at the sight of the formidable boar that, according to legend, he hid himself in a large storage jar, much to the amusement of his court. This reaction not only highlighted Eurystheus' cowardice, but also elevated Heracles' heroic status among the people. This fourth labor, capturing the Erymanthian boar, was not merely about subduing a wild animal. It was a demonstration of Heracles' ability to harness chaos, turning a force of destruction into a symbol of his capability to restore order. Each labor, with its unique challenges, progressively shaped Heracles not just as a hero of strength, but as a figure of resilience and wisdom. As we reflect on this tale, it's clear that Heracles' journey was as much about confronting external adversaries as it was about mastering his own inner turmoil. His quests teach us about the virtues of persistence and the complex nature of heroism, where triumph often comes intertwined with personal growth and unexpected consequences. Thank you for joining me on this remarkable journey through the fourth labor of Heracles. What lessons do you think we can draw from Heracles' encounter with the Erymanthian boar? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to stay updated with more myths and stories from Mythstory and Legends. Next time, we'll explore the fifth labor of Heracles, a quest that will take us to the stables of King Augeas. Until then, keep the legends alive by sharing these stories of courage and perseverance. See you in the next adventure. Welcome back to Mythstory and Legends, where we dive deep into the tales of gods, heroes, and creatures from the past. In today's episode, we continue our thrilling exploration of Heracles' 12 labors. If you missed our previous videos covering his first 4 labors, be sure to check them out to see how Heracles battled monstrous foes and outwitted devious challenges. Today, we focus on a task that required more brain than brawn: the cleansing of the Augean stables. This labor not only tested Heracles' strength, but his cunning and strategic thinking. Join us as we uncover the dirty details of this fascinating story. In the rich pastures of Hellas lived King Augeas, famed for possessing herds of cattle that were as vast as they were divine. Augeas was no ordinary king. His father was Helios, the sun god, which perhaps explained the miraculous nature of his livestock. But with great blessings came great burdens. The stables where these celestial herds were kept had not been cleaned for years, accumulating an almost insurmountable amount of waste. The condition of the stables was more than just a mess. It was a blight on the land that tainted the air and water. Heracles' task to clean them seemed impossible, setting the stage for a labor that would demand extraordinary measures. But why was such a menial task assigned to a hero of Heracles' caliber? This was a question that would reveal much about the god's whims and the nature of humility. As Heracles approached the monumental Augean stables, the scale of his task became starkly apparent. The stables were colossal, housing thousands of divine cattle, each contributing to the mountainous accumulation of waste. The task was deemed impossible not only because of the sheer volume of waste, but also because the labor had to be completed in a single day. With no time to waste, Heracles surveyed the landscape for any advantage. Traditional methods of shoveling and carting the waste were out of the question. Such an approach would take weeks, if not months. Heracles, known for his physical strength, decided on a plan that would leverage his lesser-known quality, his cleverness. He proposed to King Augeas that he would clean the stables in one day, in return for a tenth of the king's cattle. Augeas agreed, incredulous that Heracles could achieve this feat. With the agreement in place, Heracles set about implementing his ingenious solution. Heracles' plan was audacious. He would reroute the courses of 2 nearby rivers, the Alpheus and the Peneus, causing them to flow through the stables. By breaking the dikes and altering the riverbeds, he would turn the rivers into his tools. With his immense strength, Heracles redirected the rivers. Water surged through the stables, sweeping away years of filth and waste. It was a spectacular sight. Rivers bending to the will of man, or rather, a demigod. The water flowed clear again as it left the stables, leaving behind spotless grounds. The labor, seemingly impossible, was completed in a matter of hours. The bystanders, including Augea's own son, who witnessed the agreement, were astounded. They had never imagined that the stables could be cleansed, nor that they would see rivers change their ancient paths. Heracles had not only cleaned the stables, but had also transformed a landscape with his mind as much as with his muscle. Despite the clear terms and the witness to their agreement, King Augeas refused to honor his word. He argued that Heracles had been ordered by Eurystheus to perform the labor, and therefore did not do it on his own initiative to deserve a reward. This deceit angered Heracles, who had not only solved the problem ingeniously, but had also trusted the king's honor. Heracles' response was swift. He brought the matter before a court. However, when Augea's son testified in favor of Heracles, affirming the agreement, Augeas banished both his son and Heracles from Elysium. This betrayal would later lead Heracles back to Elysium to seek justice, showing that the labors were not only about physical deeds, but also about moral and ethical challenges. The gods, particularly Zeus, observed these events closely. The labor was deemed complete, but the deceit added a layer of complexity to Heracles' journey, highlighting the challenges heroes must face beyond their tasks, those of human deceit and injustice. The fifth labor of Heracles is often overshadowed by his more combative challenges, yet it offers profound insights into his character. This labor emphasizes that Heracles was not merely a muscle-bound hero, but a thinker capable of solving problems that brute strength alone could not overcome. This story also raises intriguing questions about honor and reward. Heracles' approach to clean the stables showcased his ability to think laterally and manipulate natural forces, setting a precedent for problem-solving under pressure. Moreover, the fallout with King Augeas explores themes of trust and betrayal, highlighting that the path of a hero is fraught with moral dilemmas as much as physical dangers. We revisited one of Heracles' lesser-known but equally important labors. The cleansing of the Augean stables teaches us that intelligence and wit can triumph where mere strength may fail. As we continue our journey through the 12 labors of Heracles, we look forward to exploring more tales of his strength, ingenuity, and the timeless lessons they impart. What did you think of this labor? Was it as impactful as the others, or did it present a different kind of challenge that you appreciated? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to Mythstory and Legends for more stories like this one. Stay tuned for our next adventure, Heracles' sixth labor, where the stakes are even higher and the challenges even greater. Until next time, keep exploring the myths and stories that weave the fabric of our history. Hello, and welcome back to Mythstory and Legends, the channel where ancient myths come to life through storytelling and stunning visuals. In our last episode, we watched as Heracles ingeniously cleansed the Augean stables, not with strength, but with wit and strategy. Today, we dive into a labor that brings us back to the thrill of combat and the supernatural horrors of ancient Greece, the Stymphalian birds. These weren't just any birds. They were deadly man-eaters with beaks of bronze and sharp metallic feathers. Join us as we journey with Heracles to the murky swamps of Stymphalia, where these fearsome creatures roost. Get ready for a tale of danger, ingenuity, and divine intervention. In the heart of the Arcadian highlands lies the mysterious Lake Stymphalia, a place shrouded in mist and legend. Here, the Stymphalian birds, monstrous creatures with sharp metallic feathers capable of piercing armor, made their home. These birds were no ordinary threat. Their droppings were highly toxic, causing crops to fail and spreading disease among the populace. Legends say these birds were sacred to Ares, the god of war, which explained their ferocity and resilience. The locals, helpless against such supernatural foes, turned to Heracles, a hero who had become known not just for his strength, but also for his ability to overcome the impossible. As Heracles approached the infested lands of Stymphalia, the air thickened with the smell of decay and the ominous clattering of metallic feathers. The challenge was clear. He had to eradicate these winged terrors, but how could he reach them in the skies above the treacherous swamp? The swamps of Stymphalia were treacherous, with thick mud that could swallow a man whole and water that hid more dangers than it revealed. Heracles knew that charging in without a plan was folly. This labor required not just bravery, but strategic thinking. It was Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war, who provided Heracles with the means to bring the birds down. She presented him with a pair of bronze clappers, forged by Hephaestus himself. These clappers, when struck, would create a noise so unbearable that it would force the birds to take flight, bringing them within range of Heracles' bow. Armed with his bow and the divine clappers, Heracles crept through the reeds, inching closer to the heart of the swamp. His heart pounded not just with the anticipation of battle, but with the fear of the unknown. This labor was not just a test of strength, but of courage in the face of eerie and unnatural enemies. As Heracles struck the clappers together, the sound echoed like thunder, reverberating through the swamp. Startled, the Stymphalian birds took to the air, their metallic feathers glinting ominously in the scant sunlight that pierced the mist. Heracles, with an archer's precision, took aim. The battle was chaotic. Feathers like arrows rained down around Heracles as he dodged and fired. Each shot from his bow brought down a bird, yet for every one that fell, it seemed as though two more took its place. The air was thick with the clash of bronze and the cries of the dying monsters. Amidst the fray, Heracles felt a surge of adrenaline. He was no longer just a hero performing a task. He was a hunter pitted against creatures of nightmare. With each draw of his bowstring, he felt more attuned to the wild, unpredictable nature of his challenge. The battle, while terrifying, was exhilarating, pushing him to the limits of his skill and cunning. With the last of the Stymphalian birds falling from the sky, silence reclaimed the swamp. Heracles stood alone amidst the carnage, breathing heavily, his body and spirit weary but victorious. The ground was littered with the sharp, metallic feathers of his foes, trophies of his conquest, but also reminders of the thin line between life and death. As he gathered some of the feathers, proof of his victory, Heracles reflected on the dual nature of his labors. Each task, bestowed upon him by Eurystheus, but guided by the will of the gods, was a step on his path to redemption and godhood. Yet, each also brought him face to face with the darkness in the world and in himself. The local people, once terrorized by the birds, now emerged from their hiding places. Their expressions of gratitude were mixed with awe and fear, not just of Heracles, but of the powers that orchestrated these divine trials. The hero had become a legend, but at what cost to his soul? News of Heracles' victory over the Stymphalian birds spread quickly, reaching the ears of King Eurystheus, who was both impressed and intimidated by Heracles' abilities. The hero's reputation grew, but so did Eurystheus' resolve to test him further. The people of Stymphalia rebuilt their lives, free from the terror of the birds. But their tales of the day the sky darkened with deadly feathers would pass into legend, reminding future generations of the thin veil between the mortal world and the realm of the gods. Heracles, now preparing for his next labor, knew that each victory brought him closer to the end of his penance. Yet, the growing challenges hinted at the ultimate test of his strength and spirit. What would be next? Only the gods knew, and they were not yet done with the son of Zeus. Thank you for joining us on Mythstory and Legends for the tale of Heracles and the Stymphalian birds. Heracles' journey teaches us about the power of resilience and the unpredictability of divine will. What are your thoughts on this labor? Do you think it was one of Heracles' most challenging? Share your views in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more mythological adventures. Next time, we'll explore the seventh labor of Heracles, capturing the Cretan bull. Until then, keep the legends alive. Welcome back to Mythstory and Legends, where we delve deep into the myths that shaped ancient civilizations and continue to fascinate us today. In this episode, we continue our epic series on Heracles, the mightiest of heroes in Greek mythology. Today, we're exploring his seventh labor, the daring capture of the formidable Cretan bull. Stay tuned as we embark on a journey filled with danger, strategy, and Herculean strength. Heracles is a figure of immense strength and courage, considered by many as the greatest of the Greek heroes. The son of Zeus and the mortal Alcmene, Heracles was destined for greatness and turmoil from birth, thanks to the jealous wrath of Hera, wife of Zeus. To atone for a grievous act committed under Hera's vengeful influence, Heracles was tasked with completing 12 nearly impossible labors. Each labor, designed by King Eurystheus, tested Heracles' abilities to their limit. From slaying the Nemean lion to cleaning the Augean stables, his feats have become legendary. Now, let's see how he fared with his seventh challenge. The Cretan bull, a magnificent beast that roamed the island of Crete, was more than just a wild animal. It was steeped in divine intrigue. Born from the sea, given as a sign by Poseidon, the bull was initially intended as a sacrifice by King Minos to prove his right to the throne. However, Minos, awed by its beauty, decided to keep it, incurring Poseidon's wrath. This bull not only sired the infamous Minotaur, but also became a symbol of Crete's might and Minos' hubris. As dawn broke over the Aegean Sea, Heracles set sail from the shores of Tiryns, destined for the island of Crete, home to the formidable Cretan bull. His ship cut through the waves, the horizon stretched wide before him, a symbol of the daunting task that lay ahead. The sea was not just a physical barrier, but a mythical one, filled with creatures and gods whose whims could decide the fate of all travelers. Upon arriving in Crete, Heracles was met not with hostility, but curiosity. King Minos, the ruler of Crete, had been troubled by the bull's havoc across his land. The bull was no ordinary creature. It was a divine beast that had eluded capture, laying waste to fields and frightening the populace. Minos, aware of Heracles' reputation and his divine lineage, granted him permission to take the bull if he could. As Heracles prepared for his encounter, he observed the bull from a distance, noting its habits and the sheer power it exhibited. The bull's hide shimmered like polished bronze under the Cretan sun. Its eyes burned with a fierce intelligence. Heracles knew that brute strength alone would not suffice. This labor would require cunning. As the golden sun rose over the island of Crete, casting long shadows on the ancient olive groves and rugged mountainsides, Heracles prepared for the day that would see him face one of his most formidable challenges yet. The air was crisp, tinged with the salty breeze from the surrounding Aegean Sea, which shimmered under the early light like a vast expanse of moving glass. Heracles had spent days observing the Cretan bull, studying its behavior, understanding its routines. The bull was not merely a beast. It was a creature of divine origin, gifted to King Minos by Poseidon himself. Its coat, a radiant white that glinted off the sun's rays, made it a beacon against the lush, dark green of the Cretan plains. The muscles along its flanks rippled with raw power, each breath a snort of fog in the chill morning air, each step a thunderous declaration of its might. The bull's territory was a vast pasture bordered by steep cliffs on one side and the forest on another. Heracles watched from a distance, hidden beneath the canopy of a gnarled olive tree. He noted how the bull marked its territory, charging at small groups of wild goats that ventured too close, its horns glistening with the morning dew as they caught the light. The plan was simple yet required an execution of precision and immense bravery. Heracles would confront the bull at the watering hole where it drank each morning, leveraging the element of surprise to gain the upper hand. As he made his final preparations, checking the strength of the ropes he would use to bind the beast, Heracles fortified himself with a prayer to his father, Zeus, asking for the strength and courage he would need. When Heracles approached the watering hole, the bull was already there, its massive head lowered to the water. The sound of the bull drinking was like a deep, bubbling brook, a contrast to the quiet tension that filled the air. Heracles moved slowly, his footfalls silent on the soft earth. As he drew closer, a branch snapped under his weight. The bull raised its head, water dripping from its massive jaws, and fixed Heracles with a stare that was both curious and daunting. The standoff lasted, but a moment before Heracles charged, his shout a battle cry that echoed off the cliffs. The bull responded in kind, its own roar a terrifying sound that sent smaller animals scurrying for cover. It charged, head lowered, horns aimed directly at Heracles. The dance was deadly. Heracles dodged the first charge, feeling the wind from the bull's horns brush against his skin. He rolled to the side, his movements honed from years of battling beasts and monsters. The bull turned, quicker than one would expect from such a large creature, and charged again. This time, Heracles stood his ground, stepping aside at the last possible moment to grab the bull by its horns. The struggle that followed was titanic, Heracles wrestled with the bull, his strength against the beast's. He was dragged across the field, his feet ploughing furrows in the soft earth as he struggled to gain control. The bull bucked and twisted, trying to shake off Heracles, who clung on with grim determination. Sweat poured down his brow, mixing with the dirt and the blood from where the bull's horns had grazed him. Heracles' strategy was to wear the bull down, to use its own momentum against it. He shifted his weight, pulling the bull into a spin. The creature's hooves dug into the earth as it fought to resist, but Heracles' power was relentless. Finally, with a mighty heave, he flipped the bull onto its side. It landed with a thud that seemed to shake the ground, a bellow of defeat escaping its lungs. Quickly, Heracles leapt onto the bull's back, using his ropes to bind its legs and neck. The bull thrashed, but the bindings were strong, and Heracles' knots held. With the creature subdued, he allowed himself a moment to catch his breath, his chest heaving with exhaustion and triumph. The battle had been fierce, a test of wills between a demigod and a divine beast, watched only by the ancient trees and the distant mountains. As Heracles led the bound bull away, the island seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. The locals, who had kept their distance but watched the ordeal, approached to thank the hero. Heracles acknowledged them with a nod, his thoughts already turning to the journey back to Eurystheus. The task had been grueling, but the bull was his, and another labor was complete. The return journey to Tiryns was no less daunting. Heracles, with the Cretan bull in tow, faced storms and threats from sea creatures stirred into a frenzy by Poseidon, still angered by Minos' refusal to sacrifice the bull. Yet, Heracles' resolve did not waver. He delivered the bull to Eurystheus, who was both amazed and terrified at the sight of the divine creature. Eurystheus, ever fearful of Heracles' growing power, quickly commanded that the bull be released. It eventually roamed free, finding its way to the plains of Marathon, where it would become known as the Marathonian bull, setting the stage for future legends. The seventh labor not only demonstrated Heracles' physical prowess, but also his ability to adapt and overcome challenges that seemed insurmountable. The labor had deeper implications, symbolizing man's struggle against nature's untamable forces and the quest to bring order to chaos. The story of the Cretan bull did not end with Heracles. It became intertwined with other significant myths, including the story of Theseus and the Minotaur. The bull's lineage contributed to the birth of the Minotaur, adding layers to the tapestry of Greek mythology that emphasized themes of pride, punishment, and redemption. In culture, the image of the Cretan bull has been depicted in numerous artworks, from ancient murals to Renaissance sculptures, symbolizing strength and ferocity. The myth has been a source of inspiration for literature and art, reminding us of the timeless nature of these ancient stories and their continued relevance in modern times. In this episode, we have journeyed with Heracles through one of his less celebrated, but equally challenging labors. The seventh labor of capturing the Cretan bull encapsulates the essence of heroism, combining sheer strength with sharp intellect. As we reflect on Heracles' adventures, we see not just a hero defeating monsters, but a man confronting his destiny, shaped by divine forces and his own choices. Join us next time on Mythstory and Legends as we explore the eighth labor of Heracles, where he faces the man-eating mares of Diomede. Until then, keep the legends alive by sharing these stories that have captivated human imagination for millennia. Welcome back to Mythstory and Legends. Today, we're diving into the eighth labor of Heracles. This labor, tasked by King Eurystheus, involves the capture of the fearsome mares of Diomede. Buckle up as we embark on another epic journey filled with danger, heroism, and the wrath of the gods. After completing his seventh labor, capturing the Cretan bull, Heracles returned to King Eurystheus's palace to receive his next daunting task. Eurystheus, always seeking to find an impossible challenge, tasked Heracles with capturing the man-eating mares of Diomede, the Thracian king. Let's delve deeper into what makes this task particularly harrowing. King Eurystheus, driven by both fear and jealousy of Heracles' growing fame, devised each labor with the hope that it would lead to Heracles' downfall. This time, his thoughts turned towards Thrace, a region notorious for its savage ruler, Diomedes, son of Ares, the god of war. Eurystheus's mind raced with the stories he had heard about the mares of Diomedes. These were no ordinary horses. Born of Diomedes' bloodlust and cruelty, the mares had developed a terrifying appetite for human flesh, a fact that had turned the lands of Thrace into a region shrouded in fear and death. The mares of Diomedes were 4 in number: Podargos, the swift; Lampon, the shining; Xanthos, the yellow; and Dainos, the terrible. Each one was a monstrous beast, large and powerful, with eyes that burned with a relentless, predatory hunger. Their very presence in the stables caused the earth to tremble, and their neighs echoed with a blood-chilling resonance. Diomedes, their master, was a tyrant who ruled his people with an iron fist. He took perverse pleasure in feeding unsuspecting travelers and captured enemies to his mares, making his kingdom a place of dread and horror. Stories of the mares' atrocities spread far and wide, deterring even the bravest warriors from venturing into Thrace. As Eurystheus described the task, Heracles listened intently. He understood the gravity of the challenge before him. Capturing these man-eating horses would not only test his physical strength, but also his wit and strategy. The danger was immense, but so too was Heracles' resolve. Heracles had already faced incredible trials, slaying the Nemean lion, battling the 9-headed Hydra, capturing the elusive Cyrenian hind, and more. Each labor had honed his skills and fortified his spirit. The task of capturing the mares of Diomedes would be no different in testing his heroism. King Eurystheus, with a smug satisfaction, believed this task would finally spell the end for Heracles. The danger posed by the mares and their master seemed insurmountable. However, Heracles accepted the task with unwavering courage, knowing that his destiny was to overcome even the most fearsome of challenges. As he prepared for his journey, Heracles knew he could not undertake this labor alone. He gathered a few loyal companions, including his trusted friend Abderus, who eagerly volunteered to assist him. Together, they formulated a plan to outsmart and overpower Diomedes and his deadly mares. The journey to Thrace was fraught with peril, but Heracles and his companions were undeterred. They knew that this labor was not just about capturing dangerous beasts, but also about bringing justice to a land oppressed by a tyrant. Heracles' strength lay not only in his muscles, but also in his unwavering commitment to righteousness. As they traveled, Heracles reflected on the broader significance of his mission. Each labor he undertook was a step towards redemption and immortality, a testament to his strength, courage, and determination. Capturing the mares of Diomedes would be another chapter in his epic saga, showcasing the indomitable spirit of a true hero. And so, Heracles set forth towards Thrace, ready to face the monstrous mares and their cruel master. The task was daunting, the danger real, but Heracles' legend was built on triumphing against the odds. Join us as we continue this incredible journey, exploring the bravery, strategy, and heroism that defined the 8th labor of Heracles. With his unyielding determination, Heracles set off towards the land of Thrace. Alongside him were a few loyal companions, including his close friend Abderus. The journey was long and arduous, but Heracles' resolve never wavered. As they traveled through forests, over mountains, and across rivers, Heracles and his companions encountered numerous obstacles. Yet, each challenge only strengthened their bond and resolve. Upon reaching Thrace, Heracles and his companions set up camp near the stables where the mares of Diomedes were kept. Heracles knew that this task required more than just brute strength. It demanded a clever strategy. Under the cover of darkness, Heracles and Abderus approached the stables. Their plan was to use stealth and surprise to capture the mares without alerting Diomedes and his guards. As night fell, Heracles and Abderus prepared to execute their daring plan. The cover of darkness provided the perfect opportunity to approach the stables where the mares of Diomedes were kept. The stables, surrounded by tall, wooden fences and guarded by Diomedes' soldiers, appeared almost impenetrable. Heracles, known for his strength, also possessed remarkable cunning. He had devised a plan to approach the stables from a less guarded side. Moving with the silence of a shadow, Heracles and Abderus evaded the patrols, their hearts pounding with anticipation and the looming threat of discovery. Inside the stables, the mares were restless. Their eyes, glowing in the dark, reflected a fierce hunger. These were no ordinary horses. Their bodies were massive, their muscles rippling with unrestrained power. Their nostrils flared as they caught the scent of intruders, but they remained tethered, oblivious to the fate that awaited them. With careful precision, Heracles used his immense strength to break the lock on the stable gate without making a sound. The heavy door creaked open, and he motioned to Abderus to follow him inside. The atmosphere was tense, the air thick with the anticipation of the imminent struggle. Heracles approached the first mare, Podargos, the swiftest of them all. He knew that once one mare was under control, the others would be easier to manage. Using his incredible strength, he quickly subdued Podargos, securing the beast with unbreakable ropes. Abderus followed suit, aiding in the capture of Lampon, Xanthos, and Deinos. The mares, despite their ferocity, were no match for Heracles' might and Abderus' agility. With the horses securely bound, Heracles and Abderus began leading them out of the stables. Their mission, however, was far from over. The noise of their efforts had alerted the guards, who rushed to the scene, weapons drawn. As Heracles and Abderus made their way towards the exit, the sound of approaching footsteps grew louder. The guards had discovered the breach and were closing in fast. Heracles, sensing the imminent confrontation, readied himself for battle. The capture of the mares had been successful, but the real test of strength and bravery was about to begin. Diomes, upon discovering the theft of his prized mares, was consumed with rage. Known for his brutal and merciless nature, he quickly rallied his men to pursue Heracles and Abderus. His fury knew no bounds, and he swore to exact a terrible revenge on the intruders who dared to defy him. With torches lighting the night and weapons gleaming, Diomes and his soldiers set off in pursuit. The air was thick with tension, and the ground trembled under the hooves of their horses. Diomes' wrath fueled their urgency, driving them faster towards the fleeing heroes. Heracles and Abderus, leading the mares as quickly as they could, heard the distant roar of their pursuers. The moment of confrontation was inevitable. Heracles knew that he could not outrun Diomes' forces. He needed to face them head-on to protect his friend and complete his mission. Thinking quickly, Heracles instructed Abderus to take the mares and lead them to a safe distance. Heracles would stay behind to confront Diomes and his soldiers. Abderus, though reluctant to leave Heracles, understood the necessity of the plan and hurried off with the mares. As the soldiers closed in, Heracles stood his ground, his mighty club in hand. The night air was filled with the sound of clashing weapons and the fierce cries of battle. Diomes, at the forefront of his men, faced Heracles with a look of murderous intent. The clash between Heracles and Diomes was a battle of titans. Diomes, known for his own formidable strength, attacked with relentless ferocity. But Heracles, driven by a higher purpose and unmatched determination, met each blow with greater force. The fight raged on, with Heracles' sheer power gradually overpowering Diomes' rage. The soldiers, witnessing the might of Heracles, hesitated and faltered. Heracles' heroic presence on the battlefield was awe-inspiring, turning the tide in his favor. In a decisive moment, Heracles disarmed Diomes and brought him to his knees. The tyrant king, who had terrorized so many, now faced his doom. In a grim act of poetic justice, Heracles fed Diomes to his own mares, ending his reign of terror once and for all. The mares, now satiated, calmed significantly. Their savage hunger abated, and they became manageable. Heracles had not only subdued the beasts, but also delivered justice to a tyrant, liberating the land from his cruelty. With Diomes defeated and the mares under control, Heracles rejoined Abderus. Together, they began the journey back to King Eurystheus, the task complete. This confrontation had tested Heracles in every way, but his courage, strength, and righteousness had once again triumphed over darkness and tyranny. With the mares in tow, Heracles made his way back to King Eurystheus. The king, astonished by Heracles' success, once again sought refuge in his jar, fearing the hero's power. Eurystheus, although terrified, had no choice but to acknowledge Heracles' accomplishment. The eighth labor was complete, adding yet another legendary feat to Heracles' storied life. As Heracles reflected on his journey, he realized that this labor, like the others, was not just a test of strength, but also of wisdom, courage, and justice. The defeat of Diomedes and the capture of the mares highlighted the hero's ability to bring balance and peace through his actions. The story of the mares of Diomedes teaches us that true heroism lies not just in physical prowess, but in the pursuit of justice and the protection of the innocent. Heracles' journey continues to inspire us to face our challenges with courage and integrity. Thank you for joining us on this epic adventure. Stay tuned for the next episode of Mythstory and Legends, where we will uncover the ninth labor of Heracles. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all our mythological explorations. Until next time, may the legends guide you and the myths inspire you. Welcome back to Mythstory and Legends, where we explore the captivating tales of ancient mythology. Today, we delve into the ninth labor of Heracles, the quest for the belt of Hippolyta. This tale is filled with adventure, intrigue, and the clash of titans. So, sit back, relax, and let's journey into the world of Greek mythology. Our story begins in the ancient city of Tiryns, where Heracles, the son of Zeus and Alcmene, was living under the servitude of King Eurystheus. Eurystheus, driven by jealousy and fear of Heracles' strength, had assigned him 12 arduous labors, hoping they would lead to his demise. Having already completed 8 seemingly impossible tasks, Heracles was now faced with his ninth challenge. Eurystheus summoned Heracles to his throne room and presented him with the next labor. He ordered Heracles to retrieve the belt of Hippolyta, the queen of the Amazons. This belt, also known as the girdle of Ares, was a symbol of her authority and was said to be a gift from the god of war himself. Eurystheus wanted the belt as a present for his daughter, Admete. Heracles, ever determined and undaunted, accepted the challenge. He gathered his trusted companions, including his nephew Iolaus, and set sail for the land of the Amazons, a warrior tribe of fierce women known for their skill in battle and their society where men were rarely welcomed. The journey to the land of the Amazons was long and treacherous. Heracles and his crew faced turbulent seas, unpredictable weather, and the ever-present threat of sea monsters. But Heracles, with his unparalleled strength and leadership, guided his ship through every peril. After weeks at sea, they finally arrived at the shores of Themyscira, the capital of the Amazons. Heracles, known for his diplomatic skills as much as his strength, decided to approach the Amazons peacefully, hoping to negotiate for the belt without bloodshed. Hippolyta, intrigued by the legendary hero, agreed to meet with him. The two leaders spoke at length. Heracles explained his quest and the reason behind it. "Great Queen Hippolyta, I come to you not as a conqueror, but as a supplicant. My task is to retrieve your belt for King Eurystheus. He seeks it not for himself, but for his daughter, Admete. I ask for your aid in this labor, that I may fulfill my duty and continue on my path."
Heracles, son of Zeus, your reputation precedes you. I see in you not just the strength of a warrior, but the heart of a just man. You speak truthfully, and I am inclined to aid you. The belt is a symbol of our people, yet I believe there can be strength in generosity.
Hippolyta, impressed by his honesty and courage, considered giving him the belt willingly. She admired his valor and saw no harm in granting his request. However, the gods of Olympus were always watching, and Hera, the queen of the gods and sworn enemy of Heracles, was not about to let him succeed so easily. Disguised as an Amazon warrior, Hera spread rumors among the Amazons that Heracles was there to abduct their queen. The Amazons, fiercely protective of their queen, immediately armed themselves and prepared for battle. Heracles and his men found themselves surrounded by the formidable Amazon warriors. What was supposed to be a peaceful negotiation had quickly turned into a battlefield. The clash was fierce and intense. Heracles, with his unmatched strength and combat skills, fought valiantly. He wielded his club and bow with precision, but he was careful not to kill any of the Amazons if he could help it. Despite the chaos, his focus remained on Hippolyta and the belt. In the midst of the battle, Heracles sought out Hippolyta. He found her fighting valiantly alongside her warriors. With urgency in his voice, he called out to her, "Hippolyta, this is not what I wanted. We are being deceived. Someone has sown discord between us."
I see the truth in your eyes, Heracles, that my warriors will not be easily swayed in the heat of battle. We must end this before more blood is shed.
Desperation took hold as the battle raged around them. Heracles, understanding the gravity of the situation, decided that retrieving the belt was the only way to end the conflict. Heracles and Hippolyta squared off, both warriors of unmatched skill and strength. The air around them crackled with tension as they prepared to engage in combat. Hippolyta, I regret that it has come to this, but I must complete my task.
And I must protect my people and our honor, Heracles. Let us see whose resolve is stronger.
Heracles lunged forward, his powerful frame moving with surprising speed. Hippolyta met his attack with a swift parry, her reflexes honed by years of training. The clash of their weapons echoed through the battlefield, a testament to their prowess. Heracles swung his club with great force, aiming to disarm rather than harm. Hippolyta deftly dodged and countered with a flurry of strikes from her sword, each blow aimed to keep Heracles on the defensive. Despite the intensity, there was a mutual respect evident in their movements. Hippolyta feinted left and then right, looking for an opening. Heracles anticipated her move and caught her sword arm with his hand, using his immense strength to disarm her. But Hippolyta, undeterred, kicked his legs out from under him, causing him to stagger. The two warriors grappled, each trying to gain the upper hand. Heracles' raw power was matched by Hippolyta's agility and technique. The struggle was intense, each moment bringing them closer to exhaustion. Hippolyta, this battle serves no one. We must find another way.
Then take the belt, Heracles. End this madness. Prove that even in conflict, honor can prevail.
In a final, desperate move, Heracles managed to grasp the belt from Hippolyta's waist. He looked into her eyes, seeing not an enemy, but a kindred spirit forced into an unwelcome fight. The battle around them seemed to slow, the fury of combat giving way to the sobering reality of their struggle. With the girdle in hand, Heracles and his men fought their way back to their ship. The Amazons, now understanding the misunderstanding, allowed them to retreat. Heracles left with a heavy heart, knowing the toll the labor had taken on both sides. Heracles and his crew set sail once more, leaving the land of the Amazons behind. The journey back was no less arduous, but the hero was now burdened with the weight of the conflict he had left in his wake. He knew the toll the labor had taken, not just on him, but on the Amazonian society as well. Upon returning to Tiryns, Heracles presented the belt to King Eurystheus. The king, as always, was impressed, but also secretly disappointed that Heracles had survived yet another labor. The belt was given to Admete, and Heracles prepared himself for the next challenge that awaited him. Heracles' journey to retrieve the belt of Hippolyta was more than just a quest for an artifact. It was a testament to his strength, his resilience, and his ability to navigate the complexities of human and divine interactions. This labor, like the others, was a step towards his ultimate redemption and his place among the gods. And so, the tale of Heracles' ninth labor comes to an end. But his journey is far from over. Join us next time on Mythstory and Legends as we explore the 10th labor of Heracles, the capture of the cattle of Gion. Until then, remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more mythological adventures. Welcome to Mythstory and Legends, where we journey through the myths and legends of ancient times. Today, we delve into the epic tale of the 10th labor of Heracles, a story of cunning, adventure, and the indomitable spirit of a hero. Heracles was the son of Zeus, king of the gods, and Alcmene, a mortal woman. He was renowned for his incredible strength, bravery, and endurance. However, Heracles' life was far from easy. Driven mad by Hera, the vengeful wife of Zeus, Heracles committed a grievous act that led him to seek atonement. To absolve himself, he was tasked with performing 12 labors by King Eurystheus of Tiryns, each more difficult than the last. Today, we will explore the 10th of these labors, capturing the cattle of Gion. In his 10th labor, Heracles was tasked with capturing the cattle of Gion, a monstrous giant who lived on the far-off island of Erythea, beyond the Pillars of Heracles. what we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. The cattle of Giron were prized animals, known for their magnificent appearance and their sacred status. Giron, their owner, was not just any giant. He was a formidable creature with 3 bodies, each possessing its own head and set of limbs. This made him an incredibly challenging adversary, as he could fight with 3 times the strength of a normal man. The island of Arathea, located in the far west of the known world, was a remote and mystical place, guarded by treacherous seas and dangerous creatures. King Eurystheus, ever eager to see Heracles fail, believed this task to be impossible. The journey alone would take Heracles to the edge of the known world, and the challenges he would face there were beyond anything he had encountered before. Nevertheless, Heracles, driven by his need for redemption and his unyielding spirit, accepted the challenge without hesitation. Heracles began his journey by traveling through the lands of the Mediterranean. He passed through Libya and Egypt, where he faced numerous trials and obstacles. In Egypt, for instance, he was captured by the king Busiris, who intended to sacrifice him to the gods. However, Heracles broke free from his bonds and defeated Busiris, continuing his journey undeterred. As Heracles journeyed through Egypt, he came upon the kingdom of Busiris, a land ruled by a tyrant king who had gained notoriety for his cruel sacrifices. King Busiris, believing that sacrificing foreigners would end the drought plaguing his land, captured travelers and offered them to the gods. Heracles, known for his immense strength and heroic feats, soon found himself a target. Captured and bound, Heracles was brought before the king. Busiris, with his dark, imposing figure, reveled in the thought of offering such a powerful hero to the gods. Heracles was led to the altar, his wrists bound with thick ropes and surrounded by the king's guards. The citizens gathered, their eyes filled with a mix of fear and morbid curiosity, as the ritual began. As the high priest raised the sacrificial knife, Heracles summoned his extraordinary strength. With a mighty roar, he shattered the ropes that bound him, his muscles bulging with power. The crowd gasped as Heracles seized the knife from the startled priest and turned his gaze towards the king. Busiris, caught off guard, barely had time to react before Heracles charged at him. The hero's movements were swift and precise. He struck down the guards who attempted to intervene and then confronted Busiris. The battle between Heracles and Busiris was brief but fierce. Heracles, fueled by anger and determination, overpowered the tyrant king. With a single, powerful blow, he ended Busiris' reign of terror, freeing the land from the shadow of his tyranny. The people of Egypt, witnessing Heracles' bravery and strength, cheered for the hero who had liberated them. Heracles, ever the humble warrior, did not stay to bask in their adulation. He continued his journey, knowing that his true task lay ahead on the island of Arathea. Heracles' journey took him through the vast desert of Libya, where he encountered the sun god Helios. The heat was unbearable, and Heracles, in his frustration, shot an arrow at the sun. Impressed by his bravery, Helios granted him a golden cup, which he used to sail across the sea to reach Arathea. As Heracles traversed the scorching deserts of Libya, the relentless sun beat down upon him. The heat was so intense that it felt as though his very skin was on fire. His throat parched, his muscles weary, Heracles pushed onward, determined to complete his quest. However, the desert's merciless heat soon became too much, even for a hero of his caliber. In a moment of exasperation and defiance, Heracles drew his bow and aimed it at the sun, the source of his torment. With a powerful release, he shot an arrow into the sky, its sharp point heading straight towards the blinding light. The sun god Helios, observing this bold act from his golden chariot, was both astonished and impressed by Heracles' audacity. Descending from the heavens, Helios approached Heracles, his radiant presence illuminating the desert sands. Mighty Heracles, Helios spoke, his voice resonating with divine authority. Your courage is unmatched, and your spirit unyielding. As a reward for your bravery, I offer you a gift that will aid you on your journey. Helios presented Heracles with a magnificent golden cup, large enough to carry him across the vast sea to Arathea. This was no ordinary cup. It was a vessel of the gods, capable of traversing the waters with divine swiftness. Heracles, grateful for the gift, thanked Helios and climbed into the golden cup. As he sailed across the sea, the cup glided effortlessly over the waves, propelled by the power of the sun god. With this divine assistance, Heracles was able to bypass many of the dangers that lay in his path. The golden cup allowed him to travel swiftly and safely across the treacherous waters, bringing him closer to his destination. The journey across the sea was serene and almost dreamlike, a stark contrast to the harsh trials he had faced thus far. As Heracles approached the edge of the known world, he was met with the vast expanse of the ocean. To cross this barrier, he needed a way to navigate the treacherous waters and reach the island where Gion and his cattle resided. The sea stretched endlessly before him, a daunting obstacle that seemed insurmountable. Determined to find a way, Heracles raised his mighty club high above his head and struck the ground with all his strength. The earth trembled under the force of his blow, and a miraculous event occurred. The land split apart, creating a passage through the mountains and opening a way to the sea. This passage would later be known as the Pillars of Heracles, a testament to the hero's incredible power and determination. The creation of the Pillars of Heracles was not just a feat of strength, but also a symbol of Heracles' unyielding will. It marked the boundary between the Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean, a gateway to the unknown. With the passage opened, Heracles continued his journey towards Orithyia, his heart filled with hope and determination. Upon reaching Orithyia, Heracles encountered Orthros, a two-headed dog that guarded the cattle. Orthros was a formidable beast, but Heracles, with his unmatched strength and swiftness, quickly dispatched the creature. As Heracles set foot on the island of Orithyia, he was immediately confronted by Orthros, the monstrous two-headed dog. Orthros, a son of the fearsome Typhon and Echidna, was a loyal guardian of Geron's cattle. With its two snarling heads and razor-sharp teeth, Orthros was a terrifying sight to behold. Orthros lunged at Heracles, both heads snapping and growling ferociously. Heracles, ever the skilled warrior, anticipated the attack and dodged with lightning-fast reflexes. He knew that defeating Orthros would require both strength and strategy. Drawing his club, Heracles prepared to face the beast. The battle was fierce and intense. Orthros' two heads allowed it to attack from multiple angles, making it a formidable opponent. Heracles, however, was no ordinary man. He met the beast's ferocity with his own unmatched strength and skill. With a powerful swing of his club, Heracles struck one of Orthros' heads, stunning the creature momentarily. Seizing the opportunity, Heracles delivered a second, even more powerful blow to Orthros' other head. The force of the impact was immense, and the monstrous dog collapsed to the ground, defeated. Heracles had overcome yet another challenge, his path to the cattle now clear. With Orthros vanquished, Heracles continued his quest, knowing that his greatest challenges were still to come. The defeat of Orthros was a testament to his strength and courage, but he knew that Gion and his herdsman Eurytion awaited him. Next, Heracles faced Eurytion, the herdsman of Gion and guardian of the cattle. Eurytion, though a skilled warrior, was no match for Heracles. The hero defeated him with ease and moved on to the final challenge. As Heracles moved deeper into the island, he encountered Eurytion, the herdsman of Gion and guardian of the prized cattle. Eurytion, aware of Heracles' approach, stood ready to defend the herd. Armed with a spear and shield, Eurytion was a skilled and formidable warrior. Eurytion confronted Heracles, his eyes filled with determination. "You will not take these cattle," he declared, raising his spear. Heracles, undeterred by the herdsman's challenge, readied himself for battle. The two warriors clashed, their weapons striking with great force. Despite Eurytion's skill and bravery, Heracles' strength and experience proved superior. The hero's movements were precise and powerful, each strike calculated to overpower his opponent. With a swift and decisive blow, Heracles disarmed Eurytion, knocking the spear from his hand. Eurytion, realizing he was outmatched, attempted to defend himself with his shield, but Heracles' strength was too great. With one final, powerful strike, Heracles defeated Eurytion, sending the herdsman to the ground. Heracles stood over his fallen opponent, his victory clear. Eurytion, though brave, was no match for the hero's might. With Eurytion defeated, Heracles turned his attention to the cattle, ready to face the final challenge, Gion himself. Gion himself emerged, a sight to behold with his 3 massive bodies wielding 3 shields and 3 spears. The battle was fierce, the ground shook with their clash, but Heracles, guided by Athena, the goddess of wisdom, found the giant's weak spot and felled him with a single arrow dipped in the venom of the Lernaean Hydra. As Heracles approached the herd of cattle, a shadow fell over the land. Gion, the monstrous giant with 3 bodies, each wielding its own set of weapons, emerged to confront the hero. Gion was a fearsome sight, his 3 heads snarling and his 6 arms brandishing spears and shields. He was a living fortress, his very presence exuding power and menace. The ground trembled as Gion advanced, his multiple bodies moving in unison. Heracles, undaunted by the giant's fearsome appearance, prepared for battle. Drawing his bow, Heracles aimed at the approaching Titan. Gion, confident in his strength and numbers, charged at Heracles with a deafening roar. The battle between Heracles and Gion was epic and intense. Gion's multiple bodies allowed him to attack from different angles simultaneously, making him a formidable opponent. Heracles, however, had faced impossible odds before. Guided by Athena, the goddess of wisdom and warfare, Heracles sought to find Gion's weak spot. As the giant's attacks grew more ferocious, Heracles evaded and countered with precision. He knew that a direct assault would be futile. He needed to outthink his opponent. Remembering the venom of the Lernaean Hydra, which he had used to poison his arrows, Heracles saw an opportunity. Taking careful aim, he shot a single arrow, its tip coated in the deadly venom. The arrow flew through the air with lethal accuracy, striking Gion at the juncture where his 3 bodies converged. The venom spread rapidly, its deadly effects overwhelming even Gion's immense resilience. The giant staggered, his strength failing, and with a final, thunderous crash, he fell to the ground, defeated. Heracles had triumphed against all odds. The monstrous Gion lay defeated, and the cattle were now his to claim. Heracles gathered the herd, preparing for the long journey back to Greece. The battle with Gion was a testament to his strength, skill, and unwavering determination. With Gion defeated and the cattle secured, Heracles began the arduous journey back to Greece. The path was fraught with danger, and the hero faced numerous trials along the way. One of the most notable challenges occurred when Heracles reached the land of Liguria, in what is now modern-day Italy. Here, he encountered the sons of Poseidon, Ialbion and Dersinus, who attempted to steal the cattle. Heracles fought fiercely, overcoming the 2 giants and continuing his journey. As Heracles journeyed through the land of Liguria, he encountered 2 fearsome giants, Ialbion and Dersinus. These sons of Poseidon were notorious for their strength and aggression. Upon seeing Heracles and the prized cattle, they saw an opportunity for plunder and glory. The 2 giants blocked Heracles' path, their massive forms casting long shadows over the hero and his herd. "These cattle are now ours," declared Ialbion, his voice booming. Dersinus, equally imposing, nodded in agreement, brandishing a massive club. Heracles, undaunted by their size and threats, prepared for yet another battle. He knew that he could not allow these giants to steal the cattle he had fought so hard to obtain. The battle was fierce and brutal. Ialbion and Dersinus, with their immense strength, attacked Heracles with relentless force. The ground shook as they swung their clubs, their blows creating craters in the earth. Heracles, however, was a master of combat. He evaded their strikes with agility and countered with devastating precision. With a powerful swing of his club, Heracles struck Ialbion, sending the giant crashing to the ground. Dersinus, enraged by his brother's defeat, charged at Heracles with renewed fury. The hero met the giant's assault head-on, their weapons clashing with a thunderous sound. Heracles, fueled by determination and strength, overpowered Dersinus, delivering a final, crushing blow that ended the battle. With both giants defeated, Heracles gathered the cattle and continued his journey. The encounter with Ialbion and Dersinus had been a formidable challenge, but Heracles' skill and resilience had seen him through. He knew that more trials awaited him, but he remained steadfast in his mission. Further challenges awaited him as he traveled through the lands of the Iberian Peninsula. In a region known today as Catalonia, Heracles had to deal with the giant Cacus, who stole some of the cattle and hid them in his cave. Cacus, a fire-breathing giant, was a cunning thief, but Heracles tracked him down. Using his incredible strength, he moved a massive boulder that blocked the entrance to the cave, confronted Cacus, and retrieved the stolen cattle. As Heracles journeyed through the Iberian Peninsula, he encountered the notorious giant Cacus. This fire-breathing thief had a reputation for terrorizing the land, stealing livestock and hoarding his plunder in a hidden cave. When Cacus saw Heracles and the magnificent cattle, he could not resist the temptation. Under the cover of darkness, Cacus stealthily stole some of the cattle and led them to his lair. Heracles, upon discovering the theft, was determined to retrieve the stolen cattle. He followed the trail left by Cacus, leading him to the entrance of the giant's cave. The entrance was blocked by a massive boulder, a barrier that would have been insurmountable for any ordinary man. Heracles, however, was no ordinary man. Summoning his incredible strength, Heracles grasped the boulder and heaved it aside, the ground trembling under the force of his effort. With the entrance now clear, Heracles entered the cave, his eyes adjusting to the dim light. The cave's interior was vast and dark, the air thick with a scent of smoke and fire. In the depths of the cave, Heracles could see the stolen cattle, their eyes reflecting the flickering light of Cacus' fiery breath. Cacus, realizing that his lair had been breached, emerged from the shadows, his fiery breath illuminating the cave. "You dare to enter my domain?" Cacus roared, his voice echoing off the cave walls. Heracles, undeterred by the giant's fearsome appearance, prepared for battle. The two clashed in a fierce and intense fight. Cacus, with his immense size and fiery breath, was a formidable opponent, but Heracles' strength and determination were unparalleled. The cave echoed with the sounds of their struggle, the heat from Cacus' breath scorching the air. Heracles dodged the giant's fiery blasts and countered with powerful strikes. Using his agility and combat skills, Heracles outmaneuvered Cacus, delivering a series of devastating blows. The battle reached its climax as Heracles, with a final, powerful strike, defeated Cacus, ending the giant's reign of terror. With Cacus defeated, Heracles gathered the stolen cattle and led them out of the cave. The encounter with Cacus had been a challenging ordeal, but Heracles' strength and heroism had prevailed. He continued his journey, the stolen cattle safely returned to the herd. As he continued eastward, Heracles faced additional obstacles, including hostile tribes and treacherous terrain. Despite these challenges, his determination never wavered. The journey was long and grueling, but Heracles remained focused on his goal, driven by the need to complete his labor and achieve redemption. Upon reaching the Alps, Heracles faced yet another challenge. The mountain range was a formidable barrier, but Heracles, with his immense strength and perseverance, managed to find a way through. He carved a path through the mountains, overcoming the natural obstacles that lay in his way. Finally, after many months of travel and countless trials, Heracles returned to Greece with the cattle of Giron. The journey had tested his strength, endurance, and resolve, but he emerged victorious, having completed the 10th labor assigned to him by King Eurystheus. Heracles' return to Greece was met with awe and admiration. The people marveled at his achievements and the incredible feats he had performed. However, King Eurystheus, ever envious and fearful of Heracles' strength and valor, was less enthusiastic. Despite his reluctance, Eurystheus had no choice but to acknowledge Heracles' success. The king, who had hoped that the labors would lead to Heracles' downfall, was once again proven wrong. Heracles had not only completed the task, but had also demonstrated his unparalleled strength, courage, and determination. The 10th labor of Heracles stands as a testament to his courage, strength, and determination. It is a tale that reminds us that no matter how insurmountable the challenge, perseverance and bravery can overcome any obstacle. Heracles' journey is a powerful narrative of redemption, resilience, and the enduring human spirit. His ability to face and overcome seemingly impossible challenges serves as a powerful reminder that we all have the potential to achieve greatness, no matter the odds. Thank you for joining us on this epic journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mythstory and Legends for more incredible tales from ancient mythology. Until next time, may the spirit of adventure guide your path. Welcome back, Mythstory and Legends fans. Today, we're diving into the penultimate labor of Heracles, the legendary quest for the golden apples of the Hesperides. Prepare for an epic tale filled with cunning, strength, and divine intervention. Our story begins with King Eurystheus of Mycenae, who assigns Heracles his 11th labor. This time, Heracles must retrieve the golden apples from the garden of the Hesperides, the nymphs of the evening and daughters of Atlas. These apples were no ordinary fruits. They were gifts from Gaia, the earth, to Hera on her wedding day to Zeus. Hera, the queen of the gods, treasured these apples for their beauty and divine properties. Placed in a garden at the western edge of the world, the apples were tended by the Hesperides, the daughters of Atlas, and guarded by a fearsome, 100-headed dragon named Ladon. This dragon was so vigilant that even the rustling of leaves could awaken it, making the task of stealing the apples seemingly impossible. Eurystheus, in his jealousy and fear of Heracles, hoped that this labor would finally be the hero's undoing. The garden's location was a mystery known only to a few, and the combined might of the Hesperides and Ladon was thought to be unbeatable. Heracles, however, accepted the task with his usual stoic resolve. He had already faced numerous challenges that tested his strength and wits, and he was determined to succeed in this penultimate trial. Heracles knew that to find the garden, he would need to seek guidance from those who had knowledge of the far reaches of the world. His journey would take him across lands and seas, encountering gods, titans, and mythical creatures. Each step brought him closer to the mysterious garden and the golden apples that represented not only a divine gift, but also the culmination of his arduous labors. Thus began Heracles' journey, a quest that would test every ounce of his strength, intelligence, and perseverance. The path ahead was uncertain and fraught with danger, but Heracles was no stranger to adversity. With each labor, he had grown not only in physical prowess, but also in wisdom and cunning. The retrieval of the golden apples would be no different. As Heracles set out, the gods watched with bated breath. This labor was not just a test of might, but a test of character. Would Heracles be able to overcome the seemingly insurmountable odds and return with the prized apples? Or would this be the challenge that finally defeated the greatest hero of Greek mythology? Heracles' journey to the Garden of the Hesperides was fraught with challenges. Without a map or a clear path, he had to rely on the wisdom of others. His first stop was to seek out the shape-shifting sea god, Proteus. Proteus, known as the Old Man of the Sea, possessed the gift of prophecy and could see the future. However, he was notoriously difficult to catch, as he could change his form at will to evade capture. Heracles, undeterred by this, tracked down Proteus on a remote beach where the sea god often rested. The key to gaining Proteus' wisdom was to surprise him and hold on to him despite his transformations. Heracles approached Proteus while he slept, silently creeping up on the god. With a swift motion, he seized Proteus, who immediately began to change forms in an attempt to escape. He turned into a roaring lion, then a slippery eel, followed by a fierce serpent, and even transformed into a torrent of water. Heracles, with his unmatched strength and determination, held fast through every change. The struggle was intense and seemed endless, but Heracles' grip never wavered. Eventually, Proteus, realizing he could not break free, ceased his transformations and resumed his original form. Impressed by Heracles' tenacity, he agreed to answer his questions. Heracles explained his quest for the golden apples and asked for directions to the Garden of the Hesperides. Proteus, still somewhat reluctant but bound by his promise, provided the crucial information. Proteus revealed that the garden lay far to the west, beyond the known lands at the edge of the world. He also warned Heracles of the dangers that lay ahead, including the vigilant Ladon and the protective Hesperides. With this knowledge, Heracles thanked Proteus and continued his journey. Heracles knew that reaching the garden would not be straightforward. The path was perilous, and he would need to rely on more than just brute strength. His encounter with Proteus had taught him the value of perseverance and the importance of seeking wisdom from those who held it. Armed with this new knowledge, he set off once more, his mind focused on the next steps of his quest. The journey was long and arduous. Heracles traveled through deserts, crossed mountains, and sailed over seas. Each step brought new challenges, but Heracles pressed on, driven by his indomitable spirit and the desire to complete his penultimate labor. Following Proteus' advice, Heracles journeyed across vast lands, encountering many adventures. One of the most notable was his meeting with the Titan Prometheus, who was chained to a rock as punishment for giving fire to humanity. Prometheus, a Titan known for his wisdom and defiance of Zeus, had been condemned to eternal torment. Each day, an eagle would arrive to feast on his liver, which would regenerate overnight, subjecting him to endless pain. As Heracles traversed the desolate mountain range where Prometheus was bound, he heard the Titan's cries of agony and decided to investigate. Upon seeing Prometheus suffering, Heracles was moved by compassion. Despite the daunting task ahead, he could not ignore the plight of the one who had shown such kindness to humanity. Heracles climbed the rocky precipice and approached Prometheus, who looked at him with eyes filled with both pain and hope. Heracles, wielding his mighty club, struck down the eagle with a single blow, ending the torment of the Titan. Grateful for his deliverance, Prometheus offered Heracles crucial advice for his quest. He spoke of Atlas, the Titan condemned to hold up the sky for eternity. Prometheus revealed that Atlas was the father of the Hesperides and had access to the garden where the golden apples grew. More importantly, Atlas could retrieve the apples himself, sparing Heracles from the wrath of the dragon Ladon. With this new plan in mind, Heracles set out to find Atlas. The journey to the place where Atlas bore the weight of the heavens was arduous, but Heracles was relentless. He finally found the Titan, his massive frame stooped under the immense burden of the sky. Atlas, his face etched with eternal strain, looked at Heracles with a mixture of curiosity and wariness. Heracles explained his mission and proposed a deal. He would take on the burden of holding the sky if Atlas would fetch the golden apples from the garden. Atlas, eager for a reprieve from his endless task, readily agreed. Heracles positioned himself under the sky, feeling its unimaginable weight pressed down upon him. Despite his incredible strength, the burden was almost overwhelming, but Heracles endured. Atlas, now free to move, made his way to the garden of the Hesperides. The Hesperides welcomed their father and, recognizing the rightful connection, allowed him to pluck the golden apples from the tree. Ladon, recognizing Atlas, did not intervene, allowing the Titan to return with the precious fruits. When Atlas returned, he held the golden apples triumphantly. However, seeing an opportunity to be free of his eternal punishment, he suggested he deliver the apples to Eurystheus himself. Heracles, sensing the Titan's intentions, agreed but requested that Atlas hold the sky for a moment so he could adjust his cloak. Atlas, unsuspecting, took back the weight of the heavens. Heracles, now free, grabbed the apples and swiftly departed. Heracles had outwitted the Titan and secured the golden apples. This labor, like those before it, showcased not only his physical prowess, but his intelligence and cunning. With the apples in hand, he set off for Mycenae, his journey nearing its end. With the golden apples in hand, Heracles returned to King Eurystheus. The king, ever fearful and envious of Heracles' prowess, didn't dare keep the apples. Instead, they were returned to the gods, preserving their divine nature. Heracles' return to Mycenae was a momentous occasion. The journey had been long and filled with trials, but Heracles' determination and strength had seen him through. As he approached the palace of King Eurystheus, the people of Mycenae gathered to witness the hero's triumphant return. They marveled at the sight of the golden apples, their radiant glow a testament to their divine origin. Eurystheus, upon seeing Heracles and the golden apples, was filled with a mixture of awe and dread. He had hoped this labor would be the one that finally defeated Heracles, but once again, the hero had prevailed. The king, known for his cowardice, did not dare touch the apples, fearing their divine power and Hera's potential wrath. Instead, he ordered Heracles to place them on the ground, not wanting to come any closer to the objects of such reverence. Word of Heracles' success quickly spread, reaching the ears of the gods on Mount Olympus. Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war, descended to retrieve the golden apples. She commended Heracles for his bravery and ingenuity, acknowledging the difficulty of the task he had completed. The apples, she explained, could not remain in the mortal realm, as they were gifts meant for the gods. She took them back to the garden of the Hesperides, restoring them to their rightful place. With the apples returned to the gods, Heracles had successfully completed his 11th labor. This labor, more than any before it, had tested not just his physical strength, but also his intellect and strategic thinking. Heracles had shown that he was not only a warrior, but also a cunning strategist, capable of outwitting even the mighty Titans. The people of Mycenae celebrated Heracles' achievement, honoring him as a hero who had once again triumphed against impossible odds. Yet, for Heracles, the journey was not over. One final labor remained, a labor that would take him to the very gates of the underworld and test the limits of his courage and strength. And so, Heracles prepared for his 12th and final labor. The golden apples had been retrieved, and the gods had been appeased. But what lay ahead was a challenge unlike any other: the capture of Cerberus, the fearsome hound of Hades. Join us next time as we delve into the final chapter of Heracles' epic saga. Thanks for watching Mythstory and Legends. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more epic tales from mythology. See you next time. Welcome to Mythstory and Legends, where we journey through the myths and legends that have shaped cultures and captivated imaginations for centuries. Today, we embark on the final and most daunting labor of the legendary hero, Heracles, the capture of Cerberus. Heracles was the demigod son of Zeus and the mortal Alcmene. Gifted with extraordinary strength and bravery, his life was marked by trials and tribulations. As penance for a grievous crime, he was tasked with 12 labors by King Eurystheus, each more challenging than the last. Now, having completed 11 seemingly impossible tasks, Heracles faced his 12th and final labor. Eurystheus, ever fearful of Heracles' growing fame and strength, sought to devise a task that would surely lead to the hero's doom. With a cunning glint in his eye, he commanded Heracles to descend into the underworld and bring back Cerberus, the fearsome three-headed guardian of Hades' realm. The underworld was a realm shrouded in darkness and mystery, where the souls of the dead wandered eternally. It was ruled by Hades, the stern and implacable god of the dead, and guarded by Cerberus, a monstrous hound with 3 heads, each more terrifying than the last. Cerberus had a serpent for a tail and a mane of writhing snakes, making him a formidable adversary. Undeterred by the dangers that lay ahead, Heracles set out for the entrance of the underworld. With the guidance of Athena, the goddess of wisdom, and Hermes, the messenger god and guide of souls, Heracles descended into the depth. The air grew colder, and whispers of forgotten souls echoed around him, creating an atmosphere of dread. Upon reaching the throne of Hades, Heracles boldly made his request known. The god of the dead, intrigued by the hero's audacity, listened intently. With a voice like rolling thunder, Hades agreed to let Heracles take Cerberus to the surface, but on one condition: Heracles must capture the beast using only his strength, without the aid of weapons. Heracles approached Cerberus, who stood guard over the souls of the dead. The monstrous hound's 3 heads snarled and snapped, and its serpent tail hissed menacingly. Heracles knew that this would be his greatest challenge yet. With every muscle tensed and his heart pounding, he prepared for the battle. A fierce struggle ensued. Cerberus lunged with its 3 heads, each trying to bite and tear at Heracles, while its serpent tail lashed out with deadly precision. Heracles, using his immense strength and quick reflexes, dodged and grappled with the beast. The clash was titanic, with Heracles summoning all his power to subdue the guardian of the underworld. After a grueling battle, Heracles managed to subdue Cerberus. With unyielding resolve, he bound the monstrous hound with unbreakable chains, ensuring it could do no harm. With Cerberus under his control, Heracles began the arduous journey back to the world of the living. When Heracles emerged from the underworld, leading Cerberus, the sight struck terror into the heart of King Eurystheus. Never had he believed that Heracles would succeed. Quaking with fear and awe, Eurystheus hid in a large bronze jar, unable to face the hero and the fearsome beast. He quickly ordered Heracles to return Cerberus to Hades, which the hero did, respecting the balance of the natural order. And so, Heracles completed the 12th and final labor, securing his place among the greatest heroes of myth and legend. His journey, marked by extraordinary feats of strength, courage, and perseverance, continues to inspire us to this day. The tale of Heracles reminds us that even in the face of insurmountable odds, the human spirit can prevail. Heracles' story does not end with his labors. His legend continued to grow as he achieved many more heroic feats, from battling giants to aiding the gods in their celestial wars. His indomitable spirit and unyielding determination earned him a place among the stars, immortalized as the constellation Hercules. In the night sky, the constellation Hercules shines brightly, a reminder of his enduring legacy. His adventures have been recounted for millennia, inspiring countless stories, artworks, and interpretations. From the ancient poets who first sang of his deeds to modern storytellers who reimagine his legend, Heracles remains a symbol of heroism and resilience. Heracles' influence extends far beyond the ancient world. His tales have been adapted into countless forms, from classical literature and Renaissance art to modern films and television series. Each retelling brings new dimensions to his character, exploring themes of strength, sacrifice, and redemption. Educational institutions around the world continue to teach the story of Heracles, using his labors to explore the rich tapestry of Greek mythology and its cultural significance. His adventures provide valuable lessons in courage, perseverance, and the importance of facing one's fears. Books on mythology often dedicate entire sections to Heracles, delving into the nuances of his character and the moral complexities of his quests. Scholars analyze his labors, interpreting them as metaphors for the human condition and the trials we all face in our lives. Heracles' story also comes alive on stage, where playwrights and actors bring his epic struggles to life. The drama of his labors, the intensity of his battles, and the depth of his character resonate with audiences, making him a timeless figure in the world of performing arts. In ancient times, storytellers would gather in marketplaces and town squares, captivating audiences with tales of Heracles' heroic deeds. These oral traditions ensured that his legend would be passed down through generations, each retelling adding new layers to his myth. Artifacts from antiquity, such as vases, sculptures, and mosaics, often depict scenes from Heracles' labors. These artistic expressions not only celebrate his achievements, but also serve as historical records, preserving the cultural heritage of ancient Greece. Today, tourists from around the world visit Greece to explore the land where Heracles once roamed. Archaeological sites, museums, and cultural tours offer glimpses into the past, allowing visitors to connect with the myths and legends that have shaped human history. Festivals celebrating Greek mythology continue to thrive, where people dress as gods and heroes, reenact ancient rituals, and honor the stories that have been passed down through the ages. These celebrations keep the spirit of Heracles and other mythological figures alive in the hearts of the people. Thank you for joining us on this epic journey through the myths and legends of the past. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to Mythstory and Legends for more tales of heroism and adventure. Until next time, may the stories of old guide and inspire you.